Happy Halloween, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody is doing great. I'm your special host of the night. Hope everybody is doing great. Tonight I would like to talk about the yin and the yang of life, as sometimes within the balance you're trying to find your way spiritually, and within the balance you're going to pull one direction to the other. That's what happened to me in Elms Grove. This right here is something that I designed. I designed this mask a long time ago when I was going through what I was going through in Elms Grove. I designed it because of the activity that was happening there. I wanted to blend in within the darkness to be able to see if I could catch what lured my son into the woods. You know, for those who have family, right? When something lures your son into the woods, you're trying to find out who did it, and you're trying to catch who did it. So I would blend to the darkness with my gear that I had at the time. I'm just wearing the mask for tonight, so y'all can see the mask that I created a long time ago. So I can blend into the darkness to try to find this dark man that my son was saying that lured him into the woods, and his friend, or a shadow being of some sort, somebody in black. So I spend numerous hours, you know, when people talk about their boots in the ground, I spend numerous hours in the woods at nighttime, blackout, no flashlight, no kind of lights, just me in there in the darkness in the woods, just to see if I could find what lured my son into the woods. This is what I will wear, and I will have my outfit that I will wear also, cover up my arms, which was an all black outfit. You know, I'm a little bit older, so I probably would have to get me another outfit because the outfit that I had doesn't fit me no more. I went from weighing 225 pounds to 265 pounds. Almost 270. I'm a big guy. Who do we got here? We got Brother Christopher Clough, Cousin Jesus Carvajal, and Tommy Robles. This is a mask that I created a long time ago. When I was going through the experiences I was going through in Elms Grove, you know, sometimes when you're facing an enemy that you don't know what you're facing, you gotta become them, right? Blend in the darkness, in which that's what I would do. These people that said their boots on the ground, I would go in there pitch black, just me, myself, and I with my spiritual senses, my gear, and I would do a lot of investigating out there. I would see some things in the darkness. You know, I would run into wildcats. At the same time, I would run into the shadow people, where sometimes as I stay in position, they would pass right beside me. They would stand by the edge of the wool line. Sometimes I've seen going into the park. I don't know if they would see me because I was all black out, but I'm more sure they knew I was there. When you rub against this dark shadow beings, you sense what they're about, you know, and the things that I would sense of what they're about was not good. The vibe I would get from them was not good. In which at times you could actually, how should I say, know what they're thinking because you brush up against them. So we brush against these beings, and the thoughts that they have was not of good intention. They were of bad intention. These beings do exist in Elms Grove State Park. I believe these beings that are there are shapeshifters slash disembodied demonic Nephilim, because that's where they got their abilities from, through necromancy and witchcraft. So that's what they specialize in. That's what they do. I hope everybody is doing great tonight. But yes, the mask I will wear when I would go hunting for what lured my son into the woods. My son was only 4 years old when that happened. So as a single father, I took it personally to find out who was the one that lured my son into the woods, in which I found out who it was, and it wasn't a person. It was his dark shadow beings slash shapeshifters that lured my son and his friend into the woods. Luckily, I was able to find them. I want to continue to talk about Elms Grove, how bad it is there, brothers and sisters. I did run into, I believe, what people want to call a Sasquatch, a baby one. It looked like it. I had the opportunity to kill it. I had a machete in my hand. It was small, probably up to knee high. He had opened his mouth and he had a lot of teeth. As I was fixing to kill it with a machete, right on top of its head, it started crying. So something within me spiritually told me, don't do it. So I didn't swing at it. I got out of the wool line, left it alone, and I started walking away from it. And it was still crying. It was making a weird shrieking noise. I believe it was doing a distress signal, a signal of distress. As I was walking out of the wool line onto the highway, something was walking into the wool line, and it was huge. It was massive. I would say, as big as it was had to be 12 to 14 foot tall, and it brushed right against me. When it brushed right against me, it did not hit me in which we made contact. It passed right through me. It was a giant. It was real big, massive. It took the whole path, and it went right through me. I believe it was in disembodied form. I was able to see it, and we brushed against each other. As I was walking on the highway, I started feeling weird. As I was feeling weird, it felt like I was being spiritually attacked, as if something tried to possess me. I wasn't feeling good, so instead of going home, I went to the park bench at the park. As I went to the park bench at the park, I sat there and I started praying to Jesus Christ to free me from whatever was trying to possess me. As I kept on praying and praying, I called upon Jesus Christ. I was tied, binding, and rebuking whatever was trying to possess me. After a while of praying and calling upon the heavenly angels, I felt better. As I felt better, I went back home, jumped in the shower. I prayed for the Heavenly Father to bless the water, so whatever was on me could get off of me. Whatever I brushed against out in those woods. That's why I call them the DDN, the disembodied demonic Nephilim, because they have many capabilities. They could take form to look realistic, But something that's real is not going to go through you spiritually. It's not going to go through you like right through you like that. The only thing that can go right through you like that is what I call either something spiritual, demonic, the Legion, disembodied demonic Nephilim. They have the ability to do that. I believe if I would have swung the machete at whatever was crying, that I wouldn't have killed it, that the machete would have gone right through it, and possibly by then, if I would have swung at it and kept on swinging and missing, that what I was coming into the woods might have attacked me spiritually to the fullest, because that meant that if I would have been striking the machete at it, I would have had a spiritual opening because I was trying to kill it. So that is not good, and I believe it would have attacked me spiritually 100%, because I was giving it the opening of committing a crime, right, of killing. So that's what I never did that. So basically what I'm saying is, for all this hunters that go out there with weapons and they think they're going to kill something out there, trust me, I've been there. I've been there for many hours in the darkness with no light, no kind of gear, just out there in the darkness, and I know what I'm dealing with, or what we're dealing with, as I speak of the disembodied demonic Nephilim, the capabilities that they have. I've been there. I've witnessed them. I fought them spiritually. They attack me physically. I know what they're capable of. When you hear about the Legion, right? You hear about the Legion, they come in many. When they come at you in numbers, this is one of the things that I experienced when I wore this mask, as they were coming at me, and after I wouldn't wear this mask. Like I said, this mask, I created it to go blend in the darkness, to be able to see. I could find this man in black. They have the ability to bond you, in which they can place thoughts in your mind. They can show you images. People want to say they're telepathic. Well, that's a form of possession. When what they're doing is a form of possession. It's a demonic attack, where if they're placing images in your mind, you're hearing them, you're seeing them, and they're speaking at you, they're trying to find a spiritual opening to attack you spiritually. They're trying to go through your tear ducts, through your ears, through your nose, through your mouth. That's how they enter your body to attack spiritually and bond you. There's something that I witnessed when I was out there in Elms Grove, when I was fighting spiritually. After I stopped wearing this mask, it continued. The fight was very real, where after they showed themselves to me, then they decided to attack me unseen. What I mean unseen is, imagine walking in a park and you hear footsteps running behind you. And as you're fixing to turn to see who it is, you get hit and you fly 4 or 5 feet in the air. You tumble and roll, get up with your guards up, but there's nobody there. Then you hear other footsteps coming from in front of you. You get hit right in the chest. You fly 4 or 5 feet backwards. You tumble and roll, get up with your guards up, ready to fight, and there's nobody there. That's the disembodied demonic Nephilim. Anything affiliated with Lucifer, Satan, that's what they do. And the reason they do that is because they're trying to install fear in you so you can be afraid, so they can possess you. Me, I wasn't afraid. I would go into prayer and I would fight spiritually. But it became overwhelming after a while, being attacked physically and spiritually, where they were coming in numbers. When you hear about the Legion, they came in numbers for me. I'm talking about many. They came for me. They were trying, and I was fighting spiritually by myself. I wouldn't let nobody know what I was going through. I wouldn't let family members know what I was going through. I wouldn't let the VA facility know what I was going through. But I was fighting spiritually. Like I said, I'm just wearing this mask to show you what I would wear, what I wore when I wanted to find the answers out there in Elms Grove. You know, sometimes you have to blend into the darkness. You know, that's something we do in the military. We blend into the darkness with camouflage. But I didn't want to wear camouflage. I wanted to be dark as the darkness that was out there. So I created this mask. I will wear black paint around my eyes so I could be blended within the darkness. All black outfit so I could be like the night. Like I said, my son was lured into the woods. I couldn't find him for about 30 minutes, him and his friend. So for anybody that's got a family member, you know, that becomes personal. You know, when you're trying to search for them and you can find them, it becomes personal. So it was a personal thing to me. It became like a mission for me to try to catch whoever lured my son into the woods, because I didn't want nothing to happen to anybody else besides my son. You know, this is the park. There's got swings and slides on both sides of the park where I used to live in Elms Grove. And I was afraid that other children might get lured into the woods. So as I'm a combat veteran, I made him a mission to find out what was in those woods, and which I did. I found out what was in the woods. And what was in the woods is something that's very evil. There were some kids that were Gothic when I first moved into the park. And they was always dressed in black, you know, and they would go into that path. And they would go into that path all the time. And I would ask them, what do y'all go do over there? They would always say, our master is over there. Our master's always over there, and he's always talking to us. And I would ask him, how does your master look? They would say, he's all black. Our master is all black. I never believed them, because I thought, you know, they're Gothic, live in a fantasy world, that is just their imagination, you know, of what they're pretending to be, you know, the dressing Gothic, you know. But after they left, they moved out of that park. Then I started seeing a trend of how other kids that were Gothic would be caught up within those wood lines, and they would act differently, like if they were possessed. And that's when I started questioning for what was really out there. After the day that my son got lured into the woods, me and my friend, because it was her daughter also that got lured, we took our camcorder in there. So I was in front and she was recording with a camcorder. As she was recording with the camcorder, she said, "Oh my God, I think I caught something." So she took off running out of the path. By the time I got home, she was already gone. Whatever she caught on camera scared the hell out of her. So I got my son and I went to her home to see what she caught on the video. And as I was debunking the video, we're looking as we're walking into the path, and where the part that she says, "Oh my God, I think I see something," and she left running, on the video, you could see a dark shadow man with an amulet on his neck. He had a golden amulet on his neck. It was looking through the tree line, looking at us as it was walking down the path, and it went straight into the ground, straight into Mother Nature. And I believe that same being, whether it's a shapeshifter, skinwalker, disembodied being, because it all comes from the same source, is the same being that has been deceiving a lot of people for centuries. They have necromancy and witchcraft on their side. That's what they use to blend in within Mother Nature. Some of the things that they could do, I'm going to talk about the capabilities. They can mimic voices of people. They can mimic the voices of any of my family members. They can mimic voices of my friends. And they could even mimic voices of people that I knew from back home. That they could mimic the voices. But that's what a demonic being is. They have those abilities, right? They have those abilities to mimic people. Other abilities that they have was to shapeshift into anything. They could shapeshift into anything that's living, whether it be an animal. They can probably shapeshift into a tree. They have the ability to shapeshift into a person, somebody you might know. I'll give you an example of that. There was a lady that was a Wiccan, and she would always claim she was a Wiccan. You know, she never denied what she believed in. There was one day, I was with my son, we were going to go to the pool. As I was walking to the pool, passing the park, I see somebody picking behind a tree. And they were hide behind the tree, and I'm looking, and I could see the head of the lady peek from behind the tree, and they hide behind the tree. And that's all she was doing, so I just stood there, and I was trying to see what was the matter with her. So she comes from behind the tree, and she's got a big old white flower in her hand, and she's walking like if it's not her, like she's being controlled by something else, and then she hides behind another tree. So I'm standing there, and I wait for her to come all the way to where I'm at, but when she's walking beside me, she's like in a trance-like state, like she's being controlled by a different force. So that's what I witnessed with the Wiccan lady coming out of that wool line. Yes. I found out later on about this area, brothers and sisters. After I did the show of This Woods Are Haunted, season 3, episode 2, I ran into somebody, an old man approached me. He approached me and he wanted to talk to me. He's up in the 70s, and he was telling me that they built the old airport there in Killeen. When they were building the old airport and they were digging, that they found a mass native burial ground where you could see the bodies in the ground wearing with amulets and jewelry. So he said that some of the people were trying to grab the jewelry off of them, or grab jewelry off of them. They let the foreman know what was going on, and the foreman ordered them to cover it back up, and they still continue to build the airport over it. What this man told me, because when they built the airport, they did a lot of pipes. They go towards the creek area for the water and the electrical and stuff like that, which went to the area of Elms Grove. And he said when they were digging down there, there was also a big grave site that was down there also, that it was a big, massive grave site from the airport all the way down to the creek area, all that area, native Indian burial ground. That's what I was told by an old man that built the airport, in which it would make sense because I would hear the drum beats coming out of the woods at nighttime, where they're doing the warrior beats, boom boom boom. You can hear them at nighttime. That's what it would explain a lot of the things, like for example the shapeshifters and the skinwalkers that I will witness. The deer woman that I encountered, me and my nephew encountered, the dark shadow figures that look like Bigfoot, and the manifestation they took as to look like a werewolf, or what people want to call a dogman. I call them werewolves, right? Because how they look. They like Thorpe. I believe this natives that had disabilities had to be the shamans that were in charge of that tribe, or if it wasn't the shaman, it had to be somebody that practiced the dark arts. So there was a lot of activity there within the Woodline and the surrounding area in Elms Grove. Yes, cousin Jesus Carvajal, the count took a little break. He see me wearing this mask and he took off. He flew back to Transylvania. He's like, oh no, this guy is going to try to take me out with a stake. So he took off back to Transylvania. Maybe we'll see him next year. I just wanted to share the experiences that I experienced there with y'all. So many crazy events that happen there that people do not understand. I'll give an example of that. There was a lady that lived there. She was a stripper, and she would always tell me that there was pixies going into her home, the door by a tree. You know, it's like I didn't know if she was telling me if she was being real or not. But I used to go train at night with my gear. And I remember I was by this tree one time, and I was practicing with the tree. Next thing you know, I could hear like little tiny voices making this weird sound. And they came at me. It was a bunch of them. Like, I was like, is that bees? Is that a hornet's nest? What is that? So, I went back home, and I was like, maybe just my imagination that I heard like tiny little sounds of, sounded like somebody speaking to me, but very tiny sounds of something very small, Then I started getting activity in my house. After I that following day, I was watching my TV, and within the TV, you could see a pixie flying around inside my television. It was a form of energy, and he was flying around in my TV, and it took off, right? So I started praying. I had never dealt with a pixie before. So one of the things that would happen in our home are silverware. Our silverware will wind up missing. And I was trying to figure out, I said, man, I keep on buying silverware, and it keeps on disappearing. What, are people throwing the silverware in the trash or what? So one day I was cleaning my room, and I found all the silverware. I found the silverware in the four corners of my bed. Piles of silverware on the four corners of my bed. And I was trying to figure out why would the silverware be sitting in the four corners of the bed. I believe the pixies knew what I was dealing with. So when they placed the silverware in the four corners of the bed, it was actually to protect me, because I knew I was in a spiritual fight. It was to protect me from this unseen forces that I was facing, whether it was a lycanthrope, a shapeshifter, or whatever is afraid of silver. They placed the silverware in the four corners of my bed. wish, I guess if I had an ally besides Jesus Christ and the angels, well, I don't think it was a pixie, but maybe a fairy that was protecting me from what was going on there. I believe that's where they placed the silverware in the four corners of the bed. Underneath the bed. That's where they placed it, underneath the bed. No, I just want to share stuff that I haven't spoken of with y'all tonight. Here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. This opens up here. And this opens up also. Who we got here is Sister Michelle Milner, Brother Christopher, Brother David, Sister Madeline, Cousin Jesus Carvajal. How's everybody doing today? I want to share with y'all a story. I hope y'all can hear me loud enough because I got the mask. I mean, I can open it up. I don't know if it's I'm muffled or what, but I think you can still hear me. What I want to talk to y'all was an incident that happened to me. An incident that happened to me at the pool. Remember how I say that this disembodied demonic Nephilim, whatever you want to call them, skinwalkers, shapeshifters, is dealing with witchcraft and necromancy, that they have abilities to possess, right, or bond somebody. There was a day I was in the pool with my son, and we had been there all day. It was already like around 5:30. And a woman came into the pool, and she was in the pool with us, and she was just looking at us, and we were in the deep. We were swimming. I was showing her how to swim. Next thing you know, this woman, she said, "I feel something crawling on my back." She went like this, pulled out a roach from her back, and threw it out of the pool. I'm looking in the water. I don't see no bugs. Next thing you know, she said, "Oh, I feel something else crawling on my back." She went to her back. She reached and she pulled out a centipede and threw it out of the water. And when that happened, it's like I'm looking in the water, I still don't see nothing. So she was acting weird, and my spirit told me there was something wrong with her. She's pulling out these bugs, they're not in the water, you know. So I grabbed my son and walked away from her out of the pool. We went home, you know, and I was letting him take a shower, and I was in my room waiting. And my sister said, "Hey, who's this? Is that your friend here in front of the house?" I said, "What do you mean?" So there's a woman standing there. She's standing there looking towards your room, and her eyes are rolled back white. So I looked out the window, and there was the same woman that was in the pool. Her eyes were rolled back white, and her teeth were freaked out. I believe she was possessed. These unseen forces that I talk about, they have the capability to possess somebody, in which that person can come up against you because they're being used by them. Depends on what path you're on. If you place Jesus Christ first and you have the love foundation, you're protected to a certain extent. But if you don't place Jesus Christ in your path in front with the love foundation, then whatever possessed her is liable to jump and possess you. That's what they do. I witnessed possessions there in Elms Grove numerous times. There were some people that wanted to investigate because they didn't believe what I was telling them about Elms Grove. So we had a psychic, an empath, a Wiccan, and two people that were in the military. They came, they told me, we don't believe anything that you're saying. We want to go check it out for ourselves. There was a person that said they could travel out of their body and know what's there. They said that they could control what's there, that they wanted to help me. I said, okay. I said, wait till it gets to nighttime, because that's when the activity picks up. I was used to going in there in the woods with this on, so I was already used to what was out there. These newcomers, you know, and I would tell them it's dangerous. I don't think it's a good idea. They're like, we don't believe you. So I took them into the woods. The person that said that they could go out of their body and see what's there, she was saying she wasn't afraid of what's there, and I would tell her, don't say that too loud, because they hear you. They hear anything you're saying, and they can know what you're thinking. That's how they attack. She's like, I'm not afraid of them. I could do this, I could do that. So they was waiting for her. What is anybody here? What is the name of the individuals that can leave their body, supposedly leave their body and come back to the body? Well, that's what she claimed to be, right? So I took her to the location in the woods where I had my experience with the 6 DDN, or werewolf-like manifestation beings that were there, demonic beings. I took her to the exact spot where I heard the woman crying for help. So I went back on the path and I was waiting for her, and I could see her in the path, and she was there for about 30 seconds. There you go, astral projection. She was up for 30 seconds. She said, oh my God. She started running, right? As she was running past me, a giant red orb was chasing her. So I seen the giant red orb chasing her. It was like a red mass. It wasn't even like an orb. It was like a mass, a red mass. But you could see the red mass chasing her. When I followed the red mass and I exited out of the woods, I found her on the ground. She didn't make it out of the woods. She was unconscious. Whatever it was drained her energy. So I'm there. At that time, I had a blood clot in my leg, and I was walking with a cane. But the two people that were from the military, they were by the swing set, because I had told them to stay there just in case something happened. So I told them, look, I cannot carry her. Y'all gonna have to carry her. It was 2 females that were in the military. So they grabbed her, and when I seen her, she had bumps all over her face, bumps all over her body, came out of nowhere, right? And she was unconscious. They picked her up and carried her back to the vehicle as we got out of the park. As we got out of the park, she starts looking over there, and she's seeing them. She's seeing the same things that I will witness, and she starts describing them, how they look, and she's like, oh my God, they're coming this way, they're coming this way. The same things that I will witness, she was witnessing, you know? And she was like scared, they're coming. So they grabbed her and put her in the vehicle, and I told her we need to pray for her. I said, you know what, just take her out of here, because they're coming for her. She said that she could control what was there, but whatever was there was showing her that they're territorial. I've never seen her before. I never seen her after that. That's the only time that I've seen her. I believe she was in the military also, but that's the only time I ever seen her. After that, the people that started believing me on what was happening there, because of what happened to her. Next thing you know, they come back again. This time they bring a male Wiccan. this male Wiccan saying that it's within his family, that his mother would do it, and he was brought up into this, that he could control what was there. And I was telling him, look, I've already seen somebody fall. I don't want nothing to happen to you. It's like, well, I'm not afraid of what's here. So this fella, I showed him the path, and he said, you don't have to show me where it's at. I'll find it. When I find it, I'll close the portal that's there. That's what he told me. He was dressed all in black. He had a black jacket on. He went in there, and he just stopped in the middle of the path, like he got possessed, like something was controlling him. He turned around, he looked at me, and he had a little smirk on his face, like he was smiling. And he started taking him into the darkness. Whatever had possessed him started taking into the darkness. So there I go, did the sign of the cross. I go into the darkness. I grabbed him, put him on my shoulders, and carried him out of there. When I carried him out of there, I was praying to Our Father to protect not just me, but him. So I carried him all the way back to the street. He had lost all his energy. After, when I was praying, whatever was there left him. So this guy, the same thing that happened to the female, happened to him. He started seeing the same things that she was seeing, and she was describing what I've seen, what I've witnessed, and what she witnessed. He was describing it. He was scared. I put him in the vehicle. Those two female soldiers were there also. And he was banging on the back of the seat, scared for his life, describing what he was seeing. And they took him. And that's the last time I ever see him. He never came back. But matter of fact, he did try to come back. He tried to come back one more time, and the same thing happened to him. After that, I never seen him again. I'm just letting you know that there is something. Whoever wants to go investigate in Elms Grove, be prepared for what's there. Don't go unprepared. Prepare yourself spiritually, because what's there is very spiritual, real, and it kind of knows already ahead of time when you're going to show up. It knows what you're thinking. You can't hide from it. That's why I'm attending Love Foundation, and I pray, because I don't want it to try to read me as... I try to block it from trying to read me through prayer. That's why I say the Our Father. Like if it's trying to install fear through the mind, when I say the Our Father or pray against it, it frees me from that kind of bondage. But that's what it does. It sends images into your head. So if you're thinking bad, then that's a spiritual opening for you to attack you. If you've seen something that's scary, it's going to use a spiritual opening to attack you. If it's making fun of you, and it's laughing at you, and you're hearing it, and you get mad, you start shooting your weapon, and you say, I'm not afraid of you. Well, if you're shooting your weapon, in some kind of way, you're afraid of it. If you're shooting at it, right, you got to be afraid. So that's a spiritual opening that it can attack you spiritually and bond you spiritually. That's what they do. I'm talking to y'all about this because to me it's a very serious matter of what I experienced there. I know there's a lot of people in the field that's been doing works for a while, that they're trying to hunt a dogman or they're trying to hunt a Bigfoot, but they have no success. The reason they have no success is because they are not flesh and blood creatures. There are these beings that I speak of. They have the abilities to be in disembodied form. They have the abilities to possess. What can possess somebody? Something demonic. The Legion, the fallen angels, disembodied demonic Nephilim, things that made deals with them, that was taught necromancy and witchcraft. that they have the capabilities to shapeshift. That's exactly what we're dealing with. I just wish people would awaken sooner or faster to know what they're dealing with. Because I believe 100% that there's people we've lost dealing with this disembodied demonic Nephilim when they go investigate. Because they love to attach on people. When they attach on individuals, they cause sickness and illness to the individuals. That's what a demonic spirit does. It causes all kinds of chaos and havoc. Because what does it cause? The sicknesses on the individuals? I'm going to tell you why. Because once he's got them possessed, then he wants to destroy the host, which is the body. That's why the people get sick. If he can destroy the body, then he can collect the soul of that individual. That's what they do. Why would they collect the soul? Because they're in full control of the individual when they possess them. So if they destroy the body, then they claim the soul. Because maybe the person had a spiritual opening of unforgiveness. Maybe they had a spiritual openings of fear. But that's how people within the field, I believe, have been dying. Because when they go out there, when they're searching for a Bigfoot, a Dogman, or whatever cryptid they're trying to search, they don't take into consideration that what they might be dealing with is this disembodied demonic Nephilim that I speak of. Well, you want to call them the Legion, you want to call them demons, skinwalker, shapeshifters, they all come from the same source. They have those capabilities. When you hear about a Wendigo or Wendigoism, it's a person that's literally being possessed, right? That's literally being possessed by something. Well, when Jesus found the man in the cave, right? He was possessed. He was acting crazy, rabid, kind of like if he had Wendigoism, right? It's the same thing, it's possession. He casted the legion out of him because they showed themselves to him, but he already knew what was within the man possessed. The legion didn't want to go back to where they came from, so he casted them into the herd or to the swine of pigs. Well, in the essence of a way, that's how they attack spiritually. I know there's other lives going on right now, but I'm going to continue to speak for a little bit longer. How you doing, Jesus Carabajal? How you doing this evening? Would you like to join the podcast, be a surprise guest? If you do, send me a thumbs up and I'll add you on here with me. We'll continue to talk about this. That's all I would say, brothers and sisters, to always maintain the Love Foundation. Because it's very important, especially when we face forces of the unseen that have those kind of capabilities to block your spiritual senses. They know what's in your thoughts because that's what they do. But mainly, you got to protect yourself from being spiritually possessed or attacked by them. When you let's talk about suicide. When you think about people that commit suicide, well, you can. How you doing, brother Carlito? When you hear about people that commit suicide, you don't take the DDN, the Legion, or anything that's of that nature out of a consideration because they're behind all that. Missing 401 cases where people are missing, they're behind that. That's what they do. They possess to eliminate the vessel. When I go out there by myself, They come at me. They want to cause all kinds of distractions where they're making animal noises. They're talking a different language, a different dialect. They come at me. So what do? I bring Jesus Christ into the picture. I'll start tying, binding, rebuking through Jesus Christ because I'm going through a spiritual battle, right? So that's why I bring Jesus Christ in the picture. How you doing, Brother Carlito? I see. I was just making this video, this live, talking about the things that are out there in Elms Grove that I dealt with. This mask I created this mask a long time ago. When my son had gotten lured into the woods, I would wear this mask with my gear to blend into the darkness, to see if I could find this man that had lured my son into the woods, because I wanted to capture this man, but I found out that he wasn't a man at all, that he was just unseen forces. So whether you want to call them skinwalker shapeshifters, disembodied demonic Nephilim, the Legion. There's a lot of people that don't want to bring this to the table or this to the perspective. Do you know why they don't want to bring it to the table of what I speak of? That's why I get targeted spiritually. The reason they don't want to bring this to the table is because there's a lot of people in the cryptic community that have falsified themselves through their stories, that their stories are not legit, and they want to eliminate a person like me out of the cryptic community because I'm bringing the light, the truth to the viewers. So in order for their stories to stay relevant, they want to take the spiritual aspect out of it, and they just want y'all to think that it's 100% flesh being, in which they're lying about that. If the story is a lie, then anything that's coming out of their mouth is a lie. But there's a lot of people in the cryptic community saying stories that are not true, that you can find discrepancies within their stories that doesn't make sense. If you really pay attention, you can tell if the story is legit or the story is fake. Me, I can show the proof for any doubters. If Brother Carlito, Cousin Jesus Carvajal, y'all know I've had an open invitation for anybody that wants to check out Elms Grove for themselves. But the question is, will they be ready what's there? Because what's there already knows when somebody's going to go. They already know. They know that somebody's searching for them because that's the power of the balance, right? I can show the proof in that manner. You know, it's just, are people spiritual ready to enter that area of Elms Grove and be witness to what I've experienced? Like I said, just if anybody's got a spiritual opening, they'll take advantage of that and they'll attack you. You guys remember on my episode, it shows where a woman dropped me off at my house. Well, I was at the bar shooting pool. This woman had a flat. I was with a friend, and I told her, look, if I fix your flat, you know, instead of going with my friend, I'll help you fix your flat. Just drop me off at my house. So I fixed her flat at the bar, and she was driving me to drop me off. So as we parked by the side of the house, right off the bat, they surrounded her vehicle. There was one in the front. She seen the one in the rear first. And then when I looked to the rear, I seen something standing in the rear of the vehicle. Then she said, oh my God, there's one in the front, and they were to the sides. And he was circling the vehicle. They were circling the vehicle. And I told her, you need to leave. So I got off the vehicle and I started praying against them, and she took off. When she was leaving the park, one of those dark shadow beings came out of the wool line and hit her car. It literally hit her car. So that's another thing they can do. Accidents. When you hear about motor vehicle accidents, they can cause that. It hit the car. She almost went into the wool line, and she left home. She called me. She said, "I never want to go back to where you live." That's what she said. She never want to go back to where you live. I spoke to her one more time, and I asked her, "Can I ask you a question?" I asked her, "Do you have a spiritual opening when you went to go drop me off?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do you have unforgiveness in your heart?" And she said, "Yes, I have unforgiveness in my heart. I hate my ex-husband." So that was a spiritual opening he used to attack her, because she said she even wished her ex-husband death. So that's why they surfaced up the way they did. Like I said, they're territorial. Now, they were probably, whatever she was trying to do to her husband, they knew. So they wasn't really coming after me, they were coming after her. That's why they attacked her out there. But that's the activity that's there within Elms Grove. I could tell you more stories of that, of Elms Grove. But since we're here, people are like, "It's Halloween, and you're just wearing a mask." Well, this mask I created, this mask is a cold, wet weather mask. It's got insulation inside. It was built in the military. You can use it when you're driving on the road. It's actually color green, but I stitched all this on the mask to make it black when I went to go and investigate, trying to find for this man in black in the woods that lured my son into the woods when he was 4 to 5 years old. It's a cold weather mask for the military. This is what this is. But I made it this way to blend in the darkness and the light. But yes, and I still get that, where people are still coming up and they're trying to bring other theories. Look, this is what I say to the people that want to bring theories to me. If you want to bring your theory, or prove it to me. Just like I can prove to you of what I'm speaking is true. All I have to do is take you to Elms Grove, and I prove it to you that what's there is very real, spiritual real, and you witness it for yourself. I placed pictures where they're jumping from tree to tree. I don't know if y'all see my latest video. I placed it. And that's from Elms Grove. That location when you're seeing the tree move to the tree, that's in the mobile home park. There's an old video that surfaced up in my videos, and I started debunking it. And I found that in the video where it takes a form in the tree, what looks to be basically looks like what people want to call a dog man, right, or a werewolf. You can see that the face on the tree, and then on the other tree, it goes to the other tree where it transfers itself to the other tree in disembodied form, and you can see it clinging on the tree, like it's holding on to the tree, but you can see the movement in the tree. I submitted that as evidence, and of course, the people that want to take the spiritual aspect out of it, of what I'm bringing to the table, they want to counterattack that, but I'm showing you the proof. I'm showing the proof of what I claim, what I witnessed. I'm showing it to y'all. Whether it's through short reels, whether it's through photos, I'm showing it to y'all. There is a lot of people out here within the cryptic community that falsify themselves in the stories. If you really listen to the stories, some of them don't make sense. And I don't know, is the people that are doing that just because they want people to believe in a false story, so they try to make it as good as possible. But no matter how hard they try to make it good as possible, you can still find faults. Matter of fact, I try to help about people. I listen to what people say, but I know what's in the spiritual realm. I know what exists. So I can tell when somebody's being truthful, and I know when somebody's lying, So what do? When I bring the spiritual aspect, they decide to target me on what I put on the table. And what I put on the table is clear evidence that these beings that are out there is in disembodied form. They're demonic. I'm showing clear evidence of that. I mean, the next step would be for me to record if somebody ever is brave enough to go into the area, record somebody that's being possessed by these demonic beings, you know? That would be the next step. I witnessed it. I witnessed a person being, this is what I witnessed one day. I was cutting through the path in the woods. There was a woman with she was recording film. There was a black woman standing in the path. She had a light blue dress, flowers around her head, and she was recording. I guess she was going to be a bridesmaid or was going to be married. So she was recording her on film, right? So and I said, can I cut through there? Because that was a shortcut to go to the store. She said, okay. So when I started walking through there, the lady that was being filmed, her eyes rolled back white, foam started coming out of her mouth. She started growling at me, and she started peeing on herself. You could see the urine stain on the light blue dress, and she was peeing on herself. So I witnessed her being possessed. So I got out of there as fast as I could, you know. I got out of there. But that's what I seen happen to her. She was being possessed by these unseen forces that exist there in Elms Grove. I've seen a man possessed on the highway that I helped go to safety while he was being possessed. I seen him get elevated in the air and dropped like 7 foot high, drop, 7 foot high, drop, 7 foot high, drop 3 times by the rail on the bridge. I crossed the bridge in the center of the bridge, and I was asking if he needed help. He wouldn't respond to me. He was laid out on the ground. He got up, he started stumbling my way. That's when I witnessed the demonic presence in him. The demonic presence in him said, next time I see you, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, come on, sir, let me help you. I was maintaining my love foundation, and he kept on repeating himself. Next time I see you, I'm going to kill you. On that bridge, there's no rails. It's a straight fall down. So I was trying to get him to safety. I used my love foundation, started praying within myself, and I got him off the bridge. I took him to the store. I told him to wait by the counter. He asked the clerk, what's your name? She said what her name was, and he told her. Next time I see you, I'm going to kill you. She screamed. And I told her, you don't understand. I found him on the bridge. He hit his head. That's the only thing I could tell her because I didn't want her to freak her out that she was being threatened by a demonic spirit that was possessing a man. So I grabbed the water and I prayed over it for Jesus Christ to bless the water. I gave the man the water. He drank it. When he drank the water, the demonic spirit that was within him left the man. So the man is actually talking to me normal. And he's like, oh, thank you for the water. Because when he drank the water, the unclean spirit left him. So he's talking to me normal, and I asked him a question. I said, what happened to you? I mean, what were you walking? He don't remember me helping him from the bridge to the store, but he does remember that the reason he was walking is that his vehicle ran out of gas. So he was going back home to get the gas can to put gas to fill up his truck. That's how he got possessed. He might have been pissed off or upset, right? Walking through the center of the woods on the highway, man, because he ran out of gas. And by him being mad, there was an opening that this DDN, whatever you want to call them, Legion, whatever, possessed a man. because he had the spiritual opening of anger. How you doing, Brother Larry? There's other people that do not like me talking about this, brother and sisters, and I'm going to tell you who. It's people that belong to the cult. People that worship Lucifer and the demons. They don't like me talking about this. They don't want me to bring awareness within the cryptic community or to the spiritual side of things. They don't want me to bring this, so they're coming at me too. So I'm getting attacked by the people falsifying stories. They're falsifying stories just for views. I'm being attacked by podcasters that are having people that falsify stories coming up against me. Plus I have people that worship Lucifer coming at me in a negative way because that's what they believe in. So I have all these people coming at me as I'm making this video. I catch that all the time. To me, it's not about views. To me, it's about helping as many people as possible spiritually. Just like I went to search for my son into the woods. Just like I helped a man on the side of the road that was being possessed. I've experienced many people being possessed around me. And I myself, he was trying to attack me that way, but I fought it spiritually. So I know what they're capable of. The question is, how many people within the cryptic community believe that the cryptids are 100% real flesh? Well, just for that itself, if it's these beings that I speak of, whether it's Shapeshifter, Skinwalker, DDN, Disembodied Demonic Nephilim, or the Legion, if they're believing and all these things that I just mentioned are manifesting to look like a Bigfoot, like a Dogman, well, that's what the cryptic community wants to call them, they're being deceived. They're being tricked for the belief factor, in which the belief factor, the spiritual opening he uses to attack them, to bond them, to get them sick, and if possible, to take them out of this world, to finish them, just to collect the soul. I believe that's what's happening within the cryptic community. That's why there's so many people that are ill right now. Because they're searching for the wrong thing, the wrong way, and because of the belief factor, they're leaving themselves open to get spiritually attacked. That's what I see. That's what I've witnessed, because I've seen it happen to people where they get possessed. And there's some that are not here no more because they've literally gotten destroyed by these beings. I'll give you an example of that. This Halloween, I'm sharing some real stories here with you in Halloween. When they started coming in numbers from the wool line, the numbers of 10, 15, and 20, into the park area where the people lived, my neighbors, I lost 6 neighbors within I believe, 2 months period. They all had something in common with their death. This DDN, or what I call disembodied or dark shadow figures, they were going through the walls of the mobile homes. I tried to warn them to bless their homes and protect their homes, but they wouldn't listen. They complained that I was scaring them, and they told me to leave them alone, so I left them alone. All these people that are warned, because I was witnessing what was happening, they all died. The way they died was they was all found dead in their bed. That's how they died, in their bed. Every single one of them. There was only one that was found dead on the recliner, but most likely was sleeping also. The only thing that could do something like that, like I said, is this beings that I'm talking about. They're collecting the souls. They collected, I believe it was 6, 7 people that passed away within that time frame. They collected 7 souls. Well, that's what they do. They've been doing this for a long time, brothers and sisters. These things that they do, they've been doing it for centuries. It's nothing new. They've been doing it for a very long time. I'm just trying to bring awareness to people of what they're dealing with. You know, I just wanted to share a couple of the stories here of spiritual encrypted encounters. I know there's other podcasts that are going on, but this is something. Sometimes when you face an enemy of the unseen, in order to fight something of that nature, you have to get to the same level of it. But the question is, what side of the level that you want to be on, right? Because it's about the balance. I had to fight this way, make this to blend in, just in case it was something that was real in the flesh. But then I found out it was more of a spiritual battle, in which I left this behind. I took it off and started fighting spiritually. I hope you're all enjoying hearing spiritual encounters, the stories that I'm sharing with y'all. This is real stories for all the doubters, trolls, haters. You're more than welcome to check it out by yourself if you want to go over there and check it out in Elms Grove and see what happens. The only thing I can tell you, if you're a wicked person or you're doing wrong, that they know what's in your heart, and they will attack. They will attack you spiritually. Yeah, that's what they do. In that area, you see nothing but crosses where people have died on the roads. Like I said, they can cause accidents. Thank you. I'm just trying to bring the light to y'all. I'm wearing this mask. The reason I don't take this off because I ain't got nothing on top of my head. This mask was just to cover the face. I used to have a different mask than this. It was like a wrestler mask, and it was black also. I lent it to some kids from the neighborhood. They never brought it back to me, so I just let it be. So I created this mask. Oh, that's no problem. So this is what I would wear when I was seeking the enemy. You know, I was trying to find whether it was a person in the flesh or whatever the case it might be. I was one time, I would sit down by the edge of the wool line where they would sit, where they would come out. I'll go sit right there by the edge of the wool line and the wool line itself. And like I said, I would see them pass me up sometimes, the dark shadow beings. But I was camouflaged. They'll pass me up, go to the wool line, they'll be within the park, and then they come back into the wool line. I wouldn't blink, I would just stay motionless. But like I said, what I was searching for was a real person, and that's when I found out what's in Elms Grove is not a real person. I believe, you know, since this was a massive Indian burial ground, that it has to do with the natives, you know, with the spirits of the natives. I believe a lot of these people that died because of sickness, because I witnessed one day by the airport, I was walking by the airport and I seen a door from a building kick open. What I witnessed was a tall figure dressed all in black, and he had the goggles and like the beak that we used back in the day when there was a mass, how should I say, plague going on. That's what he was wearing, an outfit that in that nature from the plagues with the big eyes and the beak. Where they would put the incense to keep them from smelling the dead. That's what I witnessed was a spirit or a being in that nature that walked right in front of me into the woods. When I followed into the woods, it was going into the golf course. It just disappeared. But I believe that a lot of natives died in that area dealing with the plague. And also, the way the creek rises, maybe some of the natives died from the when the creek would rise, it swept them into the creek, So I believe that also could have happened because when the creek rises, it sweeps everything away. So the natives in the area, there were woodlanders that live in the woods, that hunt in the creeks. So if a flood came, it would take them. And I believe that's how some of them passed away. Yes, I'll share a story with you. There was this woman, I believe she was a witch, because she's always burning leaves and talking in a different language. She was of Puerto Rican descent. And she would always come to her house asking for cigarettes. One day she came to the house and my sister said she didn't have no cigarettes. So this lady, she went through the woods. The only thing we know is that we could hear sirens and all this stuff. What happened, there was this truck driver. He was driving his truck. They said that the lady jumped in front of him. He said that she looked scared. And she jumped right in front of his truck and it hit her and she died. That's how she passed away. Now, the bigger question is, did she die because she jumped in the vehicle by herself, or did she die because something possessed her to jump in front of the vehicle that way? That's the bigger question. There's people that have been found dead in that area. There was a boy that lived far away at a Kmart, by the base. And the boy got too close to a ravine, like the water that goes through the city. And the water took him. The water took the boy. It was raining hard that day outside. And it came out on the news and the boy fell in the ravine. They were trying to find the boy. And the water was real high in the creek at that day. It was real high, above the creek. I remember being in my room, and as I was being in my room, I seen an image of this boy, and it showed me a location. The location that I seen the boy was the next bridge over to where I lived at, which is in Harker Heights. That the boy was there, So I got him a brother-in-law. Hey, let's go get this boy. He's over here. He knew I could see things in this nature. And he said, "Well, just wait till the morning." Well, when the morning came, they had already found him, and that's where they found him in the location I wanted to go. But yes, there's been people that have drowned in that creek that is taking them. And here we go again. What's the question? The question is, what is the boy going to be doing outside his home when it's pouring to make it go into the ravine? Or was the boy being controlled by a different force to make it go into the creek? And the park, Oh yes, there was a. Are you talking about the deer woman, Carlito? I can tell you more experiences of this. I'm just placing it out there. What would the boy be doing out there when it's pouring a bad thunderstorm? The only thing I can think of that was being controlled by something, right? Just like the lady that jumped in front of the car, she was being controlled by something, I believe. That whatever possessed her when she went to cut through the woods, it made her do that. That's what they do. Um, yes, that's what I believe that lady was involved in, brujeria. Uh, I'll give you another example of the things, the activity that happened there. I used to go walking at nighttime through the center of the mobile home park, and as I was walking, rocks were being thrown at me, right? And the rocks are landing around me, and I'm looking, military. So I'm looking, I'm analyzing to see who's throwing these rocks. These rocks are coming out of nowhere. Next thing you know, as I'm passing this house, one of the alarms start going off in the cars. Dee, 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 dee. All the alarms are going off the vehicles that I'm passing. Then one of the vehicles that the alarm is going off, you can see the truck moving like something's jumping on it. But there was nobody in the truck. There was nobody in the truck or nobody jumping on top of the truck, but the truck was moving like somebody was jumping on it. And rocks were still being thrown. So I would just do the sign of the cross and I would walk right through there like if nothing. But there's a lot of activity. I found out another story from a sergeant major. He said he had a soldier there that was an E7 that lived in Elms Grove. After he heard the story on This Was His Haunted Season 3, Episode 2, he said, look, man, I know that area that you're talking about. I had a soldier that was an E7, and he was afraid to come out of his home. He would tell me that they're coming for him, that there's something evil there. He said, I never believed him. I just thought that he was lying to me, that he just didn't want to go to work. So I had to come and pick him up from his mobile home and take him to work and bring him back home. But he was afraid. He said he was living in fear for his life. That he would say they will come at night trying to enter his home. Right? Same activity, and he lived on the other side of the mobile home park. Same activity that was happening to me on the other side of the park. He said, when I heard your story, I remembered the sergeant that he would tell me there was something evil there because the same thing that you spoke of, he spoke of. That's what he told me of the sergeant. He was an E7, a sergeant first class. He's higher rank. That he was afraid to drive in the mornings. He was afraid to drive at night because there was something evil there. And there's been a lot of things that happened to many people in that park. People that would warn me, hey, there's something bad here. They would tell me, watch out for here, for this area. Watch out for here. They'll tell me other areas where they will witness something. There was Carlito wants me to say a story about the lady walking. Yeah, I think he's talking about the deer woman. Where it was me and my nephew, we seen a dark shadow being walk beside my friend's car. What had happened, the creek had risen, and all the mobile homes that were down the hill had gotten washed out by the water, so they had a lot of damage. My friend couldn't move his car because his car had gotten flooded, so he couldn't even crank up the engine or nothing. So he said if we could keep an eye on his car. So we seen something pass by his car, something big, a dark shadow. So me and my nephew were running down the hill to find out what was going on, to see if somebody was trying to break into his home. So as we go there, we're looking around his home. He had a brown mobile home, the older kind, like brown panel wood outside of his home. And we're looking and we can't see nobody. So as we go in between the mobile homes, it's dark. Out of the darkness, there's this woman that came out. She had the shirt looked like a deer print, and she had a smile on her face. She came out of the darkness, and I asked her, hey, what are you doing here? Are you here for Brother David? She wouldn't respond to me. And then the only thing she asked me is, can you give me a ride? And she's looking at me, smiling at me. Can you give me a ride? And I said, no, I don't even know who you are. Then she turned automatically to my nephew and gave her the smile and asked him, can you give me a ride? And he said, no, ma'am, I don't even know who you are. So she started walking up the street, and we noticed something strange about her. As she was walking up the street, you could see her right leg was twitching real fast like this. Like it was moving like this, like it was shape-shifting. That's the best example I can give. It was moving so fast, and we could see in between you could see the leg of a deer, where the leg is twitching, right? It's twitching, and it's the leg of a deer that she's actually part from the body up was a female, but the lower part of her body was from a deer, which I believe there was a shapeshifter, or what they call the deer woman. We followed her, and we tried to run after her, but she was moving so fast. By the time we got up to the main stop sign, she was already around the corner, and she was moving a hell of a fast. She wasn't running, she was walking, but she was moving very rapidly on not normal. So, we witnessed that they're doing there at Elms Grove. There's a lot of strange activity there in Elms Grove. We used to have a little bus stop there where, it was just a little bus stop with a bench. Me and my nephews were walking for exercise, and it was cold, and out of the darkness of the little bus stop, there was a woman sitting there, a young girl. She looked pale from the face, and she was barefooted, and it was cold as hell out there. I'm looking at her, and I seen it through my peripheral vision that she was in the darkness. So I turned around real quick because it triggered my instincts. I turned around, she got up, and I said, ma'am, is everything okay? She's not saying nothing, she just looks pale. And my nephews are freaking out, like, man, who's this female? We don't even know who she is. Then she just walked away from us. We didn't even follow her or nothing, but she was barefooted. She didn't say a single word to us. It seemed like she was ghost-like. That's what we witnessed there in Elms Grove also. Let's see what Sister Madeline has to say. I didn't get to read all of it. Okay. Her mother died tied to a bed from a curse that was placed on her, not something to be messed with. Oh, I got a good one here for y'all. This is from back home. I'm going to tell you a story. There was this woman that had a lot of flowers, and she was always talking to my mom. She had flowers, she was always watering her plants, right? Well, this woman became ill. She became ill, and I remember going to visit this with my mom inside this woman's house. They had her in her room because she was very ill. They didn't know what was the matter with her, right? So when I seen her in the room, she was acting like she was possessed in the room. And my mom was there trying to pray for her because it was a friend of hers. She was acting possessed. So I went outside because it was freaky the way she was acting. I went outside, and as I'm outside of her house, I'm by outside her window of her bedroom. I start hearing something, like a bird of some sort, right? Some kind of noise, and I hear like, and I'm looking underneath her house, and there's dirt underneath her house. So I start moving the dirt, trying to see what's underneath the home that I'm hearing. As I clear a lot of the dirt, what flies from underneath the house was a lechuza. I believe the lechuza was what's causing her to be sick. So the lechuza came out of the house and it flew away during broad daylight. This was a white lechuza that I witnessed, not a black one, a white one, and it flew. Lechuza, you want to call it an owl, but it was huge, it was massive. After that happened, and it flew away, the woman passed away. But I believe that's what was causing her to be ill. Brujeria, witchcraft. Yes, the curses are very real. I'm just trying to make it about Halloween. I know that there's a lot of people coming up against me spiritually. I don't think they want to come up against me physically, but I can handle myself for sure. But I see a lot of that happening within the cryptic community right now. Lots of division. Now, the bigger question would be this. Is who's affiliated with who? It will be the bigger question. In which, what's the main goal of the division that people are trying to cause? Are they causing the division because they want viewership? Or are they causing the division because it's bigger or part of a bigger scheme? And that's what I witness. And it's kind of like, that's what I see. Spiritually. Yeah, but that's what I witnessed. It's kind of like, Beelzebub cannot cast out Beelzebub. You can't fight evil with evil. The only way you're going to be able to overcome a spiritual battle is through Jesus Christ. So in saying that, let me take it. Well, I don't want to take up my math. I'll just wait till the end. I believe that's what's going on. And there's people infiltrating with fake stories. And people are believing in the fake stories that are being said by these individuals. The reason I know that's happening, because those individuals coming with the fake stories have come up against me in a negative way. Because if I'm proving without a shadow of a doubt by my videos that these unseen forces are real, so what does that do? That takes the narrative of their story where they're trying to claim it's 100% flesh to be a lie. That they're falsifying their story. So that's why they come up against me in a negative way. Because they want people to believe a false narrative, a fake story, compared to somebody that's being real to the viewers. That's what I do. I try my best to tell you the truth for those who want to hear. And that's exactly what's happening in the cryptic community right now. That people are lying about their stories when they see me place these pictures of the DDN, that they're jumping from tree to tree and stuff like that. It takes the whole narrative of them claiming that they encountered a dogman or a Bigfoot that are 100% flesh. It takes that all out of out of the narrative because I've proven to the viewers and the people that there are demonic beings, in which if they're demonic beings, they can be 100% flesh. In which would say that the story is a lie because they're claiming it to be 100% flesh. Question. Here's a question. Let's do it like in the classroom. Here's a question. Did you touch it to see it was 100% flesh? Did it grab you, drag you to be 100% flesh? How come you're still alive? It was something to be 100% flesh, and it's supposed to be a dangerous species. How come you're still alive? Question. If you shot at it and the bullets went right through it, but you swear you're a good aim, you're a good hunter, but you didn't kill it, why did the bullets go right through it and it's still alive? Was it because it was something 100% flesh or something in the spirit? If you missed it, it's got to be something in the spirit, right? Now, not saying that what's in spirit cannot drag you, because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen where the man on the bridge got elevated in the air and dropped. They have those capabilities, the disembodied demonic Nephilim. They can hurt somebody. They have those capabilities. But imagine getting lifted by an unseen force. You can see who's lifting you up in the air, and then they drop you. But normally when it's happening to these individuals, because they're being possessed. You think about it, they get possessed, they get elevated by this demonic power, and they get dropped, you know. Those are the questions that I have for these people. They claim their stories that they witnessed something in the flesh. Did you touch it? Did you have physical contact that you touched it? Right? That's a question that I have for these people that claim that they either killed a dogman, shot a dogman, or saying the stories that they encountered one. I'm not doubting that they might have seen something, but what they might have seen was not real, 100% flesh, especially if they didn't have no contact with it. But it could have been something of what I bring to the table. Disembodied demonic Nephilim or something demonic that has those capabilities. But when a person wants to take the story that it was something in the flesh, it was in the flesh, and it was in the flesh, that's when I raise my questioning to them if their story is legit or not, because of what I witnessed, what I experienced in Elms Grove. I battled with it spiritually and physically. When I mean physically, I didn't fight it physically. It attacked me spiritually, but touched me physically in spirit, in which it left bruises on me. That's how they work. You know, that's how those demonic forces work. So yeah, there's a lot of doubt of some of the stories that I hear from people. It's like, we're spirits, we're souls, right? Like Sister Madeline said about brujeria and all this. We know it exists. We know the things that can happen when there's a spiritual war between witches, especially if they're fighting black magic versus black magic. What does that do? It leaves spiritual portals open where demonic energies go battling back and forth amongst each other. But at the end, who wins? It's not the people that are casting against each other. Is this demonic forces that are winning, right? Because all they want is to collect the soul. See how long I've been on here now? Okay. Woo. Almost 2 hours, y'all. I hope y'all enjoying this. I'm trying to stay in character, you know, with a mask on. But that's what I see, you know. I see a lot of that. To all the people, this is something I wanted to talk to all the people that come up against me in a negative way. All the individuals coming in a negative way through falsifying themselves as an individual, whether it be fake profiles or trolling or whatever they believe in. You know, I know where I stand spiritually, and I know how to fight spiritually and physically. Since I'm a combat veteran, I can handle myself accordingly to the danger or the threat. Y'all started something with me just because I bring the spiritual aspect out of it. I've been fighting spiritually for a very long time, so I'm just here to tell y'all that I'm going to continue to do my works that I do. I'm going to continue to share my stories and bring the spiritual aspect out of it. And you're not going to stop me. People with fake stories are going to stop me. Podcasters with fake guests are not going to stop me. I'm going to continue to do the works that I do, whether you like it or not. I don't care who's affiliated with who. But fake is fake, right? Can we agree? Can we all agree with that? Fake is fake, and eventually, what happens with a fake story, or should I say the other way, a lie will only last. A lie can only last till the truth comes out, right? But you could tell when somebody's being genuine. Yeah, there could be a person that could talk real good, but you can still see the flaws within the story. When they're sharing the story, that there's a flaw there, you know? And I'm not saying they didn't experience nothing, but you could tell when somebody's being real or when somebody is just trying to seek attention for their own purpose, you know, and that's what I see happening right now. That's what I see happening right now within the spiritual community. Is that better? Get a little bit of air. I got a little bit of water here. Can still drink through it. There we go. Yeah, it was muffling me, but I wanted to stay in character, but I open it up now. Yes. And that's what's going on right now. I'm seeing this, I'm witnessing, and the reason I'm saying this because I had a certain individual that was on my podcast, and I brought him to do a podcast with him. And then I placed a video, the short reel, where he's jumping from tree to tree, and he just starts going off on me for no reason. You know, for no reason, just to start going off trying to say it's pareidolia and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm showing the proof, and there's people there that are witnessing what I'm witnessing, and they're like, yeah, it's right there. So they get mad because people are answering to what I'm putting out there in a positive way, and this individual gets pissed off because of the evidence that I'm showing. It's kind of like it's kind of like, to me, you know, an individual like that, you know, when you're showing the evidence clear as day, compared to that's video evidence that I got, I might say, where it manifests in the tree and then jumps to another tree. That's video evidence, which is real, right? I'm placing it out there with its real evidence from a live video compared to somebody saying a story. It's two different things. One is real because of the live video. And when somebody says a story, is it real or is it fake? So you got a person that said a story but has no evidence of the story. I have a live video that it shows the DDM within the tree. It peeks, shows his face. And then on the second tree, I have the video where it goes into that tree and he moves on the tree and is clinging on the tree. Real video evidence. But that's why I guess I get targeted. Showing real things compared to a fake story, right? To a fake story, real evidence to a fake story. I mean, I have the evidence. That evidence that I place, that's more of a to show proof of the existence of what happens in Elms Grove. That video is from Elms Grove when it's in the tree and it jumps to another tree. That's activity. If you seen the show where I'm telling it's jumping from tree to tree, I have video evidence from the day that my story is legit. So I have my story that I said plus video evidence, and somebody just has a story with no evidence that to me could be made believe is coming up against me in a negative way when people are seeing what's in the video. And they're ridiculous. That's ridiculous, right? But I think what their main goal is try to give people that are being real, that are genuine, a bad reputation. I believe that's why they're targeting me and trying to give me a bad reputation as a serviceman, trying to say I threatened them and all this stuff, which I never threatened nobody in any kind of way, shape, or form. It's something I made fun of people's weight. I made fun of people's looks. I might have made fun of them in that nature, but I never threatened nobody in any kind of way, shape, or form. But that's how they're coming up against me. But I have so many videos that I have the evidence to show my claims to be true of when I speak of the disembodied demonic Nephilim, when I speak about skinwalkers, shapeshifters, the Legion. I have my evidence there. So then you got people that are seeing this, that's like, oh, he's got this proof here now. And they're trying to bring their own narrative into something that I recorded and try to tell me this and this and that about tree spirits and all this stuff. I know sometimes the natives, they would bury a body of the native, they would plant a tree and the tree would grow. I know about that, which that would be considered a tree spirit, right? But when it possesses an individual and it makes the individual die, well, that's a demonic spirit because it's collecting the soul. That's what they do. I placed the video and some pictures on, what was it called? Werewolf something, some group. A moderator told me, don't be placing that kind of stuff here because it's scary. And the person that's saying this is the person that pretends to be a werewolf. Pretends to be a werewolf. You know, it's like, it's crazy, you know. So I've run into so many different kinds of people doing this works. But anyways, I hope that y'all enjoyed this 2 hour. I think it was like 2 hours. I can probably go another 15 minutes. I hope y'all enjoy what I've been speaking to y'all tonight. Let me see if I can take off this mask. This mask is pretty tight on me. I think I'm just going to leave it on till the end to stay in character. Well, I'm not even pretending a character. I'm just wearing a black mask, what I used to wear in Elms Grove. But yes, the spiritual battle is very real, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much, Sister Madeline. But yes, you got people with stolen valor that are pretending to be hardcore, that they serve in the military, which they never serve in the military. That was never in the military. That's unbelievable. I'm talking about Dirty Vault. Unbelievable. Stolen valor. He claimed to be native or something, or I don't know if he's native or not, but I know for sure he has stolen valor because he never served in the military, you know. I believe I made a video where I told them to show me their DD-214s, which it'll let you know the record of the military. They never showed it to me. When they never showed it to me, is because they were falsifying themselves that they serve in the military. He pretends to be hardcore. I can see the softest in him. There's people that pretend to be that they're hard and they're bad. They just don't know. They don't know where I've been and what I've done and how to do to still be here amongst the living, you know. They just don't know me. Yeah. I had a gentleman contact me. He said he was a werewolf. I said, let me know when the full moon hits and you transform. Can you record it for me, please? When you're transforming into a werewolf. That's what I told him. When you transform it, can you record it and then send me the video so I can check it out? So I can let the people know that you're 100% legit a werewolf. Yeah, you got people like that. And then you got people that, you know, they're just plain liars, you know, like there's people that I'm talking to you about I didn't want to say their names, you know, because I'm already sick and tired of them. I call them just Dirty Mike, Dirty Waters, Dirty Fault or Vault. That's some sick individuals right there, man. But I know what I'm capable of doing. I'm a bad dude. You know, I still do my workouts. But besides them, you know, it's not about them tonight. It's about me sharing stories with y'all. I'm trying to think of one more story before I go that I want to share here with y'all on spiritual encrypted encounters. For those that view this, can you, if I have a spiritual encrypted encounters on YouTube also. So if anybody knows anybody that's liking the content that I'm placing out here, the stories, send them my way to the YouTube channel, so I can try to get to them 1,000 viewers, so I can start making lives there. All in due time. I'm not in a rush. I love doing it here in my group live, and then I just copy it and put it up there on YouTube. I'm going to share one more story with y'all. I'm just trying to think, because from what location I want to talk the story. I want to say the story from something that I encountered. I'm trying to think right now, real quick. Okay, it's when I was a kid. When I was a kid, let me put on my mask so it can sound scarier. No, I'll just leave it off. Yeah, I'll leave it off so you can hear. When I was a kid, I love looking at the stars at nighttime. We had no ceiling fans. The only thing we had was window fans. But at this time frame was around this time frame where it's fresh, the cold air is coming in through the windows. So it's kind of like we had AC in a sense of a way. And our windows were big screen windows. So at that time frame, I was probably like 6, 7 years old. And I'm looking at the stars, and I had my little toys that I would play with, the little soldiers. And I was playing by the window, looking at the stars, getting the fresh air. Everybody's already asleep. It's like around 10:30 at night. As I'm playing there by the window, next thing you know, a figure appears right in front of me. It moves from the side to right in front of me. He's wearing a hat, like the gangsters. I could see whiteness in his eyes and whiteness in his mouth where his teeth were, you know. And he kept on touching the screen like this. He wanted me to touch the screen. He would put his hand by the screen and he wanted me to touch the screen, right? So I freaked out. I got scared. You know, I was a kid. I jumped back down. I was asleep on a couch, you know. I was skitty. So my blanket had a little hole. So I'm looking through the little hole. I'm looking at him standing right there by the window. Then he turns his head, he's just looking at me, and he still got the smile. He's just smiling. He's got this smile on his face, and he keeps on going like this by the window. Then he moves out of the way. So I uncover myself and I go look, and I push the screen a little bit with my head, and I'm looking sideways, but he's gone. It happened to me one time when I was a kid. After that happened, it's like I stopped playing by the window sill, by the window, and I stopped going to sleep at the window, and I would sleep somewhere else where I would be away from the windows. Yeah, to my understanding of what I hear is that there were some bank robbers that robbed the bank, and those bank robbers died right there in our property. They got killed, but they had buried the loot or buried the treasure or whatever. But I believe there's a treasure there in a property somewhere. But it was a ghost of one of the bank robbers. The way he was dressed was like in the 50s, probably 40s, 50s, like a gangster. But I witnessed that when I was a kid. So I'll share another one with y'all. I know I've talked to you all about the lechuzas. But witchcraft, brujas, DDN, anything dealing with Lucifer, they're tricksters, right? We used to have a bunk beds. The bunk beds from back in the day, it was like a little rag. If y'all remember, there was like little raggy. There wasn't even a freaking mattress. It was like a cot of some sort. And I remember being asleep on the cot, and I hear my name being called. The lights that we have is the ones that you pull the little string. We didn't have the lights like you hit a button. It was little string, right? So I'm sleeping in the kitchen, because our house was small. So we had those bunk beds in the kitchen where I would sleep. So I'm sleeping in the kitchen, and I hear my name being called. Abraham, Abrancito, ven pa acá, And I'm looking, and it sounds like my grandmother, And I'm looking, and it's like, Abraham, ven pa acá, pa la ventana, And I'm like, what the hell? The room's dark. I could see the light outside out of the house from outside at nighttime, So I start walking a little bit. I stop halfway in the room, and she's telling me, ven pa acá, soy yo. Rímete más por la ventana, rímete más. So I'm like freaked out, and I'm getting closer and closer. And then it says, soy yo, ven pa acá, rímete un poquito más. It sounds like the voice of my grandmother. As I get almost close to the window, I just, boom, something rips the window. When it rips the window, hits me in the head. And I was skinny, so I fly back into the middle of the room. But the whole screen is ripped. But there's no grandmother there. Whatever hit me, my mother got up, turned on the light. I was bleeding from my face. I still got the scratches. It hit me on the side of the head, and I was bleeding. Whatever was there, it tried to take me out the window. I think that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to grab me and take me out the window. But it didn't happen that way. But I'll never forget that day. And the window we had was a big window. It wasn't a little window. It was one of those big windows from back in the days. When the windows were real pretty big. Just like in South Texas, where I come from. Back in those days, the windows were made big so more air could come in, But it ripped the whole window off, and almost, I believe it was trying to take me, whatever it was, mimicking my grandmother's voice. lechuza, bruja, whatever the case it was. I got a scar on my face. You can't see it, but I mean, you can see like a scar because I when I was young, but you can still see the marks where whatever hit me. I remember going to school with a patch on my face, right in here, and my mom will tell me, "Don't tell nobody what happened. Just keep it to ourselves." They were trying to find out what happened to me and stuff like that. But that's a story a true story that happened to me down in South Texas, in our old home. Cousin Jesse can verify there's a lot of activity there in that at that address. But I believe that a lot of the spiritual activity that happens anywhere has to do with limestone, because limestone attracts energies. Because they go get the energy of the limestone, so it produces that. Oh yeah, y'all can see what I'm talking about. That imitated my grandmother's voice in Elms Grove. They can imitate the same thing. They can imitate, but it all comes from the same source, which is witchcraft and necromancy. They can imitate people that are living, and they can imitate people that you've lost in life that are deceased. They can mimic not just their voice, but they can mimic their appearance to look like them. People want to call them double hangers or whatever. Well, spiritually, they have the capability. When angels used to come, they would take human form. They warn people of certain events that will happen for them to go to safety and stuff like that. They would come in human form. Well, demons, since they're fallen angels, they have those capabilities also. That's what they do. You remember seeing them, Cousin Jesse? By the window? Yeah, he was there. Let me drink a little bit of water. I just want to say thank you all for tuning in, So, Sister Madeline, you know about the brujeria and all that too. You're of Puerto Rican descent, so you know how that exists within the culture, I'm going to tell you one that I believe. This one's, okay. During the German war, right? During the German war, or the U.S. versus Germany, or Hitler, in our home, there was a place called labor camp. Well, the labor camp, they used to hold prisoners from over there, from the war. They would hold them there in the camp. Well, when I joined the military, I got sent to Germany, and I would go to this bar called Cheers. So it's like I went to this bar. I seen the same scenery, smoke, and drunk GIs. And I said to myself, you know what? Let me just go back to the billets. I'd order me a pizza and just stay there and watch a movie. When I closed the door, turned around, there was this man. He had a jacket, a hat, and an umbrella. And he's looking at me, and he's standing right behind me because it was drizzling. And he says that he knows me, I believe I've shared this story before. He said he knows me, and I said, well, I don't know who you are. He's talking a different language, a different accent. And he says that he knows where I'm from. I said, okay, so if you know where I'm from, where am I from? He said, the Rio Grande Valley. And I said, okay, if you know where I'm from, then tell me who's who within my family. He said my grandmother's name by name, my grandfather's name by name. Then he started naming my mother, my father, and all my brothers and sisters. So I'm looking at this person, I'm 19 years old, And I'm like, how does he know all this information? There's no way, that all this information that is given me, anybody knows, because not even in the military, they're in the military, they only ask you for your mother and father, but he's naming my brothers and sisters, and he's got a different language. And he said, I know who you are. That's what he told me. And when that happened, my spiritual AC told me to get away from this. Whatever that was, told me to get away from him. So I left him. But I believe that the connection from that man, or whatever it was to the labor camp. Something must have happened over there in the labor camp. But I believe it has to do with that. There's witchcraft, there's necromancy. In some kind of way, it had to do with that. I believe that 100%. I didn't want to find out. I was too young to really know what was going on, or whether it was a demon in disguise trying to offer me something. I didn't want to do nothing with that. So I chose to walk away from it. Yes, I had family members from the past, not immediate family, but uncles. I found out my grandmother was into that, and other people within my bloodline was into that kind of stuff. That's why there was a lot of activity happening around our household, since we all live in the same lot. The craziest thing that I ever witnessed was well, I witnessed two crazy things, but I've already spoken, was a night where I could hear all kinds of animals outside. I could hear elephants, lions, like different growling sounds. And you could hear a whip. You could hear horses. You could hear a man yelling with a whip. And I was trying to figure out what's going on. I was young. And it happened all night. Like from 2, like 2 in the morning, all the way to like 4 or 5 in the morning. All this activity is happening. Trying to cover my ears to go to sleep. I can't because of all the different kinds of animal sounds that we're hearing. I remember when the sun came up, we went outside, and all over our yard, the front and the back and the sides, all you could see was nothing but piles of different crap, different manure from different kind of animals. I felt that the Legion or the devil itself was there, around that area, because there was nothing but crap in all the 4 lots. So me and my brother had to shovel that, put it in a wheelbarrow, carry it to the back. We spent all day. I'm not telling you, 4 lots. Me and my brother were like 8 and 9 years old. He was 10, I was 8. We shoveled crap all day. Put it in a wheelbarrow, take it to the backyard and dump it. That's what we did all day, which was a Saturday day. After we finished doing that, we were ordered to lock the gates with chains. My grandmother was there supervising. We didn't even have cracks underneath the link fence. And I was asking her, so, well, how did they get in here if there's nothing here, that no cracks or no openings, because normally keep our gates closed. So we put chains and everything on the fence. So that night, around the same time frame, the same thing happened again. You're hearing all these different animal sounds outside, the growlings and the whip and the elephants and different animal sounds. Yeah, my mom's praying, people were praying within the house. When we woke up, this is a Sunday morning. Crap all over the place. Me and my brother spent Sunday day cleaning all that up. But basically what I'm saying is, if people wanted evidence if it's possible, it left manure, different kinds of manure. Now, I know that there's no elephants in South Texas. There's no lions in South Texas, but they left evidence of the manure or the different kinds of crap me and my brother had to, how should I say, get rid of. We had a big pile in the back. We call it an alley or the callejon, where all the crap was at. We had the evidence in, just nobody would believe that story, right? Because you show them the evidence, they're going to be like, oh, where did this come from? They're going to try to say that you're lying or something, but I witnessed that when I was a kid. But that's the last story I want to share here with y'all on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. But yeah, Sister Madeline, maybe one day, if you ever want to do a podcast or just come here live, maybe you can share some of the things that you've experienced, through, you say your husband. I'm always sure if he was practicing in your household, that there was a lot of activity, unwanted activity within your household, because he was practicing it in your household, so he was leaving portals open to that, in which you could have caused all kinds of activity within your house, or for some kind of attachment to be on him or within the family, because it's normally what happens, But it's even worse when somebody practices it because they're opening it up to it. They're allowing it to come into the houses, so that's even worse. Yes, there is. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in here tonight on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I hope you all enjoyed the stories. I just need I have a lot more stories. I just need to, I try to go with the flow of things, how I'm feeling, and I just share them that way. I just want to say thank you all for tuning in here tonight. God bless everyone, every one of y'all. What I'm going to do, I'm going to download the video, and I'm going to place it on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on YouTube, and then I'm going to share it to the groups. Thank y'all. God bless every single one of y'all. And just remember one thing. You're never alone. Jesus Christ is with you. Doesn't matter what we wear, but it's what's within here, right? What's within your heart. Doesn't matter what situation you're in. It's what's within your heart and what kind of spiritual connection you have with the Heavenly Father. Always remember Him, because He's always with you. You just got to call upon Him when you're going through something you might not understand. He'll show you so you can understand it. At the same time, He will assist you spiritually to overcome anything negative. Love, light, and blessings from my family to yours. Peace out, everybody.